And yeah, I see the Facebook family is starting to join as well. But I think let's borrow a very short excerpt from this book. And I think, and I know she's going to guess right, the name of this person written about in this book. It reads, I grew feedback. A one-street redneck migrating a town surrounded by coal mines and coal trains with endless carriages and coal-packed containers crisscrossing the horizon, pulled by steam engines we call Makalanyana. Churning smoke up into the air. I remember seeing women in the mornings, the sunset running alongside the coal trains, with large tin taps collecting the coal nuggets that fell from the cars. It was a tough town where African miners drank themselves stuporous to blot out memory of the blackness of the mines and families and lands that left behind, often never to see again. Even when the burning coal and dust like we still had music to sing our sorrow and illuminate our ecstasy. When I was 4, I was a page boy in my auntie Lily's wedding to Nico Sikwane. For the reception that night, the jazz South African's top township orchestra played selections from their swing and repertoire. Banga was the dominant music of South Africa, a sound as joyous and sad world. But I will get to that later. The band members were all dressed in those bow ties and stashed white shirts. The featured soloists were the young Zex, Makay Davashi, and Edison Temba. Kitty's brother was the dapper pianist who dressed as flamboyant as the great American general, smiling all the time, showing off his shining gold cap. I stood wide-eyed next to the lead trumpeter, Drake's Mba, fascinated by all the silver instruments, the drums, guitar, and double bass. The band was tight and played all night, swinging and smiling, sweating and creating a widening circle of beasts that enthralled and hypnotized the wedding guests and left me thrilled and wrung out, dazzled and slack. The band played and danced as if by some uncontrollable magic. I fell asleep on stage while the party raged on, and dreamed of big bands into the early morning. It was in those days in that music first captured my soul, forced me to recognize its power of possession. It hasn't let go yet, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Welcome, Lerato Pagade. I borrowed this from a very interesting book titled Still Grazing, the musical journey of Human Circle. The reason I chose this excerpt is the last two lines, which say it was in those days in Vietnam that captured my soul, forced me to recognize its power of possession. It hasn't let go but I'm getting ahead of myself. So I read a lot, but I read few things as well about you, because I think it's the music, the love of jazz music that got you doing and engaging in this journey. Can you please take us through who is Lerato? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Zuko, and thank you so much for having me.
We still have a challenge of not hearing you.
Auntie Vagal.
Okay, we're trying to get that fixed. Your mic on?
Yes, my mic is very much on. So I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Clearly.
Okay, let's fix that.
Let's fix that.
Yes, I think I can hear you now.
I can hear you now.
You can hear me?
Oh, perfect.
Very good. No technology formed against us shall prosper.
Of course it won't.
So that's a good place to start. Is Ndikhulele ecaweni. That was a big part of my story and a big part of where I fell in love with music. Memory of every night prayer and reading the Bible and just being in worship as a family and how everybody had ipati yake,
I see.
And just from making eye contact, you could tell about, okay, you're going to take over the song now because I started it in a key that's too high, you know what I mean? So music has always been a big part of our lives. My grandparents were both choir conductors. That's how they met. On my father's side, he's from the Eastern Cape, so ndingumazikali. And I fell in love with jazz in my teen years, really. I was fortunate to spend my high school years in Cape Town.
Okay.
But really, the moment that captivated me was listening to, back in the days when you could still go to a CD shop and put in a CD and wear the headphones and listen to music, was hearing Ella Fitzgerald sing A Tisket, a Tasket, I Lost My Yellow Basket, just hearing her scat, I was like, what is that? That really captivated me, as well as Abonina Simone and just the depth of emotion that she had, which I really connected with. And then I came home and found that, Brahu, Nabo, Mama Miriam, the music we'd grown up with, Uti, that's considered jazz too, and we've made our own kind of jazz. So since then, really, it's been my obsession.
Now we hear that you used to struggle. I think I'm going to choose that word. Your parents pulling them around to find just sports, just to feed your animal. Please take us through the journey.
And a shame, I feel so bad for my parents because I always share this story. But I mean, Cape Town has such a rich environment as far as live music. So whenever we'd be driving to school or back or wherever, I'd always have my eyes open for different performances. And I would let them know, Upra Don Laga is in town, or Jimmy Dludlu, or Mams Bongile, and just made sure that we attended. And I always say to them these days, please, I upgraded your musical tastes because I introduced you to these greats.
I see.
So
you happen to be in a space that is very contested. Not only in South Africa, globally as well. Knowing how demanding and how specific and sometimes how the entire genre that you pursue is same expectations are equally heightened. So how do you find yourself as a photographer? But also not just as a photographer. I know we should not even be emphasizing gender here. But the reason I need to bring that in is because we all grew up knowing that Fortuta Khosani in my case from way back in time. and it would always be a
it would
man,
always be a
carrying the
man,
lens.
carrying
It
the
would
lens.
always be a man
Always be
behind
a
that
man
lens.
behind that lens.
And you just
You
manage
just
to
manage
find
to
yourself,
find
in
yourself,
this
in
space.
this
And
space.
I mean,
And
how
I
is it?
mean, how is
How are
it?
you finding
How are you
the whole
finding
journey?
the whole
And
journey?
how
And
did
how
you
even
land yourself in
land
such a
yourself in
space?
such a space?
Yeah. It's interesting, this idea of being a woman photographer. I'm still wrestling with it. Partly because less for myself and more because there are young women reaching out to me saying, hey, we want to try what you're doing,
Nice.
Now that we've seen an example, please can you show us how to shoot when there's no light, that kind of thing. So it's less of a theme for me personally, but it's important for there to be more and more of us so that it's not a surprise to see a woman with a lens, right? But the beautiful thing was just how the jazz community, especially here in Joburg, is special, because I used to attend jazz shows, njalo. I was a regular face.
Yeah.
And the music really did something for me, and I wanted a way to give something back to the music. And so photography became a way for me to say, okay, this is how I serve at the table that feeds me, and between musicians and other photographers, I was welcomed like this is home, so that was also a big part of confirming that, okay, I'm in the right place.
Well, you mentioning one thing I always feel is very important in this how jazz as a community in South Africa, functions in oneness and functions in that communal kind of culture. And also how you also find yourself fitting, in that arena. As an instrumentalist,
Of course,
but she's carrying a
but
lens.
she's carrying a
And
lens.
there's something here
that
we
I
need
like
to
that.
play.
I'm gonna write that down. My
No, it's fine.
instrument is the camera.
I won't charge you.
I won't charge you. I won't ask for copyright.
I'll reference you, I promise.
That's so
sweet.
Let's play
Let's
something
play
here.
something here.
Like we see the
we see the
messages.
messages.
Okay. Apparently,
There's
some
people are struggling to get the clear
Okay,
sound. We are attending to that.
We are receiving all
We are
the
receiving all the
messages.
beautiful messages.
Let's read.
Let's play with this.
Someone sent a very nice voice note. For the Rato. Okay. We are trying to find it. We are finding it. Okay.
Voice note.
Yeah. Let's play.
Man, beautiful story. This weekend, did a gig with Hoopla Herbs. African Time Jazz Assembly and Title Basement. And
Oh no.
you know what I love about you. I can't see you.
Yuma, we have to start that one again. I think I know who it is, but I want to make sure. Is that better, Zuko?
Sacredness of the altar that people call it stage, the sacredness of the stage. So she respects it so much, man. And like as much as she is, what's the word? She captures all the stuff. She captures some of the greatest pictures in our jazz history, and she's coming at the right time. Even though she's capturing obviously the old, but she's documenting the modern jazz. A musician, and just overall musician in such a big way, man. But the grace that she does it with, because the other guy, remember, I don't know his name, man. I don't think it's important for you. I remember him advocating for being able to be on stage so that he can be able to get the best pictures. He put up the argument that we're not allowing him to do his best job because we're not allowing him to get on stage and take the pictures. That conversation was never had with Lerato. Just somehow finds a way to get the best pictures from a great point of view. Yeah, man. So respect for the stage. I think maybe it goes with the type of person she is. Yeah, man. Yeah. But yeah, man. Funny story. Yeah. Great guest.
Oh my word. Oh, wait, 1 second. I'm just having trouble hearing you, Zuko.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, there we go.
Cool. This is a random message from a friend. And he was just going through my stories, and he happened to see this flyer that has info about this conversation we're having, and he sends me this, and I'm like, oh wow, man, this is so beautiful. And I'm like, can you play this? And then he says, yeah, we can play it. Like, it's coming from their heart. It's not like it's scripted or anything. So it is really coming from a right place.
A lot of people are celebrating you.
A lot of people are celebrating you.
Wow.
Admiring your work and how significant you are in the game. And maybe the question is, what is it that grounds you?
Look, I have to tell you, it's been an extraordinary journey. The pace at which the community has embraced me and the depth continues to shock me even today. But what I find, and I'm not used to, I still can't get used to the visibility, I'll use that word. But the thing that keeps me going and keeps it real for me is that this work is an assignment for me, It's not a common thing to say on radio, but it feels like ndithunyiwe, And so it's less about ukuthi, ndiyinja when it comes to the camera, and more about was I a good servant? Did I serve well, in this space?
I see.
And did I represent, the industry well? So those are the things that are closest to my heart, really. And also showing that you can do this kind of work in a different way. Maybe that goes back to your question about being a woman, is that photographers have a reputation, especially at festivals, of being, a little bit aggressive and trying to make sure we get the shot. But for me, the test is about how can you show a different kind of character? How can you have a different kind of relationship with musicians, and mutual respect? And that, yeah, it might look foolish to the world to be soft, but that there's power in that as well.
Wow.
Wow.
And
I'm just thinking about
how you
how you
summarize
your whole journey, into this word ubizo
okanye ukuthunywa.
okanye ukuthunywa.
Because really,
I think
this guy was
just reflecting on the essence
of how you carry
yourself in this journey, of
being a
a
servant,
servant and understanding
you're
that you not just a servant, but you
are that one that
are
has
that
got
one
an
that has
assignment
got
to
an
fulfill,
assignment to fulfill. And without wasting time, can you really tell us, your influences,
or maybe
or maybe
that
that one particular thing
that
that
keeps pulling you
towards
this
this picture
that you see,
that you see, that one day you know that, okay, I'll be fulfilled if this picture
is realized
is realized through my lens. I don't know if that makes sense.
Well, that's an interesting question. I think the biggest influence for me had been ingoma kaSimphiwe Dana, ethi umthandazo wase-Afrika, and it makes reference to ukugcina amaxesha. And so, indeed, there are photographs in my mind of the greats, whether they are South African greats or, American greats, where you look at this and you're like, wow, I wish I had made that. But you can't predict, which moments are going to be the moments. And so the only thing you can do is to show up every time and say, my job is ukugcina amaxesha, is to archive this moment in time, is to show, a little bit of the magic that happened in the room, the passage you read from where Brahu says it seemed like, or they played and they danced as if they were possessed by this uncontrollable magic. I believe in that magic. So it's like, if I can capture just a little bit of that, even if you weren't in the room, you look at the picture and you feel the magic, you recognize the magic, then my job is done.
Well, that's so beautiful.
I've been just thinking about
how jazz
photography
has sort of
put the whole genre into another paradigm.
Because there's
a moment where the music
lives
on stage,
where the sounds
travel on stage, and we're all in that space.
And then there's a moment
where it is extended and then it starts echoing and echoing. And in this case,
that is
realized through photography, where we are able to get into the images themselves, and the images themselves
they start
being alive, and they start
playing back
the moments that we've lived in. So
I've always been
fascinated
by jazz photographers
specifically because
they choose a genre,
and that genre is jazz photography.
And then they stay
on it,
understanding
how petty jazz musicians can be.
and
understanding as well
the
nitty-gritties of the genre. And
but also I've been checking how
also
this angle has been less written about
academically.
And
your contributions, yet everything in most cases it hinges on jazz photography as archives. And when you read about you, it does not only say Ulirato, jazz photographer, but there's this
important element
important element which is to archive, amaxesha, and you just touched on that, and we always go back. It's funny that in as much as we're traveling towards these images, but we find ourselves, going backwards because there's these images that exist already. So we're traveling towards something that we've seen and fulfilled.
Literally, it's actually unbelievable. There's a photograph I have. It's an old photo in the 60s of Roy Hargrove holding his instrument. And I recently took a picture of a musician, and when I put those two pictures together, it was like 50, 60 years apart, but that exact same emotion. I think Ubraspiwe Mshambi, who's quite a prominent figure in the field, he has a picture of Ubunduduzo Makatini that looks so similar to a picture of Moses Mulelekwa. So there is a dance that's happening throughout time as we capture these moments. And the beautiful thing is, because they have been captured, you can see the echoes. The same way that the music of now is influenced by the music of back then, you are starting to see physically, how that manifests as well. It's powerful, incredibly powerful.
That's really beautiful,
and I just like
how you position yourself within,
which to some extent
separates you, from
abanye abantu
abantu that do the same thing.
I see that
Bongani is ready to be with us as well.
And
Okay,
there's one thing that
a lot of people, at least I did not even know
before we started
talking about the day,
our program,
and
the focus for tonight's conversation. But
Yeah.
really,
there are beautiful connections here. There's a beautiful story, that's unfolding.
Can you please take
us through the story?
The story that has to do with Box.
Yes,
that one.
Okay, he will forgive me for telling the story. Dumela, Butak.
Greetings. I mean, bro.
Greetings. No, I was just telling Zuko a bit earlier about how, reflecting on a year ago in Makanda at the jazz festival, having seen you perform, standing by the fire, and then, watching all of your incredible performances, being able to capture amazing moments. And now, a year later, you being part of a number of creative pursuits of ours, including our first film, which is a documentary about the South African jazz scene. So I didn't even know but you were going to be there. And as we were having that conversation, that connection was just magical. Pretty dope.
Yeah.
This is how we welcome
you, bro.
It's
Thank
okay,
you.
man.
Sorry, my camera off. You can show face.
No, I'm actually in the darkness here because it's load shedding. So
South Africa.
No, it's okay.
help. South African problem.
Injal.
Yeah.
And
welcome.
But yes,
Welcome. It's so good to have you here.
And
And
can you please
Loretta, just switch off your device for now?
The mic.
The mic, sorry, please.
Okay. Do you have your radio on as well? Okay. I don't know if we keep getting feedback as if someone is connected. Okay, but it's fine. We're going to sort it out. Welcome, Box. We're so grateful to have you, bro. And yeah, man, we're just discussing all things youthful. It's a youth month after all. And we celebrate you and you're going to tell us more about this year's agenda. We've been reading some incredible stuff. You released a beautiful project, Radio Sechaba, and
Yes.
it's doing well. It's been received well globally. Yeah, man, what a year!
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, it has been an eventful year so far, and we're only halfway through the year. And yeah, it's been great to finally release this project that's kind of been in my mind for about 4 years now. So finally got to to release it and let the world deal with it.
Man, it's such a beautiful album, and I'm sure a lot of people, especially those that are not close to you, never had an idea of how great a vocalist you are. And has it always been something that you were like, okay, I've got this one big ace up my sleeve, I'm gonna burn them, eventually?
No, thank you for the kindness. Well, when I was young, I think the first musical thing that I did was to sing in the junior choir at my school.
Mm,
And it's something that I enjoyed. But then, when I started playing the piano and started getting more into that, that definitely took over, and it took me deeper and deeper into, being an instrumentalist. But it was kind of something that I think I wanted to do at some point, but maybe the time was never right, until now, where I actually felt like I wanted to say things, like even the thing about writing words and saying those words,
mm, mm, mm.
is also a thing, because yeah, I think it helps with the delivery, of whatever you're doing, because there's a message that's behind what you're singing.
Wow. I see we're going to connect right back to the doki that Lerato touched on, because it's a beautiful way to extend the sound, and so we're going to touch on that. But again, just to extend to this conversation that we're having now about you, releasing Radius Chaba. I know for a lot of people, you sit with a concept, you entertain it in your head, you meditate on it until it really becomes, something that you feel is ready to be consumed by other people because it has consumed you first.
Yes.
And is it a journey perhaps you're in that now lends itself within this frame that is both instrumentally and vocally?
Sorry, just I don't think I understand the question.
So Radio Sichaba, the orchestration of the whole project, is
Yeah.
it is it a reflection perhaps of a journey that you're in, as a musician, as a man, as everything that you are?
Yes. Yeah. Indeed. I think that art is always kind of some reflection of the life of the creator of that art, in whichever kind of way. This one, I had a special emphasis on looking at the South African context, and also globally. I was busy with my master's degree while I was making the album, and
Mm,
my master's thesis was about how younger generation, like my peers, use their music to address social issues.
mm,
So it's something that I was kind of interested in, um, and thinking about whether my music was engaged in these kind of social conversations
mm,
about what people are going through, and am I playing my part to speak on these issues. Also, before I did my research, I was also thinking about before democracy, how
mm,
I just had the assumption that music played much more of a a role in, um, it wasn't just music for music's sake. It was, music tied into the liberation struggle and things like this. So it was interesting for me to research and read up on these things and see, and also compare the kind of style of engagement of music. So yeah, it's been a very interesting journey, and what resulted was the album that is, I was trying to make art and not, uh, like it's an interesting thing when you say that you are engaged in social commentary or these kind of things, and how do you balance that expression without making it like I'm saying, like political slogans and things like this through the music. So it's an interesting kind of balance thing. But yeah, that's kind of the framework that I was dealing with and the kind of world I was in.
Interesting. Mind telling us just a bit about your masters, the topic, and what the study is about? I know that with your grace, we're still gonna engage more on that, and hopefully in Makanda. But just for interest's sake, and for those that are listening, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. So you want to know a bit about my masters?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I did was, the main part of the thesis was me interviewing some musicians that are in the scene. I can't name them because it's of the whole
Of course,
ethics
I know.
thing.
Yeah.
But they were great research subjects, and yeah, it was interesting to speak to other people because what I realized is that, through this masters, I could actually have very in-depth conversations around a focused area. It's not the type of conversations that happen like, we'd usually just meet each other at performances or gigs or after that, and sometimes it's not a space that allows for kind of deeper engagements in
I
this way.
see.
So it was a real great opportunity for us to have these in-depth conversations about things that I was very curious about. Just being able to ask fellow artists to say, okay, how do you think about this concept about, we live in the society, we know that there's so many problems and issues in our society. How do you feel about it? Do you feel a sense of responsibility to speak on these issues? Where do you
Yeah.
position your music? Is it important? And then also there's another side of looking at it where you say that, it's actually impossible for an artist to create anything that is not socially engaged because,
Of
we are
course.
people before we are musicians. And
Yeah.
so all the things that we are going through as human beings somehow relate, sometimes very indirectly, to the kind of social situations that we find ourselves in. So it was very fascinating for me and something that I'm passionate about. So it was all an interesting journey of discovery.
Oh man. No. Thanks. Like I said again, with your grace, we are hoping to be stationed in Makanda during the fest, and where we're going to be having further conversations.
Yeah.
Thanks for that. To those that are tuning in, you're listening to Jazz Outside the Box, your space for sonic engagements, live on Keith Ngesi Radio. Back to Sislerato, and before we release you, or before you want to be released, can we talk more about the docky? And I know you don't want to give us everything about the docky, but also try to fit us in, and I will allow Box as well to have some reflections, on the docky.
Mm. Well, some of it is going to be a surprise to even Box himself.
Oh wow!
So I need to think carefully about what I share.
Cool.
But the motivation, I think, is so evident even in just what Box has shared. listen to me sing what Bokani has shared in this short space of time. And that is that so often the musicians um, really have gone through an extensive reflective process, you know, from composing the music to perfecting it, to recording it, to, testing it out and then performing it. And so really the documentary aims to get into that world a little bit and understand the experience of being a musician first and foremost, what it's like to dedicate your life to that, and the balance of it calling on you, but also that you're a professional. Bogani is a master. He's considered a master in his field, and so that technical expertise as well is really important. So that's the first thing, is like the experience of the mission, the human story behind it. And then the second is to say, what is it that's so special about South African jazz music and South African jazz music today? And my hypothesis is that there's something special happening. Since the pandemic, I don't know how long it's going to last, but there's something special happening right now with this age of jazz musicians in particular, whether they identify as jazz musicians or not. And yeah, so really we're putting a spotlight on this incredible community, on the discipline that they demonstrate, on the collaboration between them, on what leadership looks like, how they lead and allow themselves to be led by one another. There's so many incredible stories that come just from observing jazz music being made and performed. So that's really what we're trying to capture.
That's beautiful.
Mhm.
Box, any comments and reflections on the docu, at least according to what you know, because I hear that you've only been sold a quarter of the whole bag,
I don't even know if it's a quarter, So it sounds like there are lots of surprises in store, which is all good. I mean,
Maybe you're gonna
I
be
don't.
selling ice cream in this docu.
Hey, side hustle, you know what I mean?
Of course, of
um,
course.
but just knowing Lerato and for some time now, I just get
Yeah.
the sense that her heart is in the right place, and she just takes a lot of care with what
Yeah.
she does and how she interacts with musicians, and I think you can see that in the pictures that she takes,
Oh
that
yeah.
it's somebody who's trying to really take a deeper look and has a real passion for it, so I think these things are evident. So when she approached me to say that she's making this docu, I don't really need to interrogate too much, and I
Yeah.
just trust you know um,
Mm,
from
mm.
what I know about her and my experiences of her work and what she's done before, that yeah, I know that I'm in safe and good hands.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, Bugs. I appreciate you saying
Yeah,
that.
yeah, it's the truth. It's the truth.
Yay. Hooray. It's going to be beautiful. I'm looking forward to it.
Ungakhali Lerato. Yeah, no man, we're looking forward, and of course, we're gonna be there in Makanda to experience the whole thing. And but it's really interesting how this world sort of have this the music side and the jazz photography. They have this symbiotic relationship, and where you just know that you know w- like I said even before, once the event is gone, there's memory, and that memory is only carried within these photographs that become archives. So I really, it's hard now to think of this whole jazz vocation without jazz photography, And you mentioned something, Lirato, about the pandemic, and how was it like for you? I mean, as someone, who gets fulfilled by simply being in spaces where music is, performed. Now restrictions, and the only photographs you can only take, Zico Zoom, when people are playing virtual concerts. How was that experience?
Oh man, it was extraordinary actually, because watching, first of all, how musicians went deep during that time, you know, really reflected and created safe spaces for us to explore a strange, strange time that we're living in. That was really moving for me. And then the music that came out of that time was also healing for so many people. It was an avenue for us to express our grief. It was an avenue for us to eventually, once we could be together, it was an avenue to express our joy, to be together once again. Um, but most importantly, I think it gave me a little bit of a revelation of just how much sacrifice musicians make in dedicating themselves to their art. And so I came out of it with a conviction, Yoba, the world needs to know um, about what incredible musicians we have here in South Africa, and that we need to put some respect on their names, you know?
No, no, thank you so much. Indeed, we've survived some crazy times, and it seems as if now that that one is laid to rest, we have load shedding, which is really giving us some tough times. But nonetheless, we continue. Over to you, Bogani. We're looking into the Makanda experience again, and you have a beautiful journey with this whole experience as a young person, growing into it, winning an award, and then now you're coming back wearing, a big hat. Can you please
Yeah.
take us through the journey?
Yeah. The festival, I think, is very important in the development of so many musicians, and it plays a big role, I think, for young people especially. And I mean, I just know from my experience of attending the festival, from the time that I just started studying music at UCT. It was something that we used to attend as students, going in the like the school bus, with a whole bunch of other students. But it was really an opportunity for us to meet other young, music lovers and music students from around the country, and also to attend workshops of musicians. Like, it's a great space because you get to watch the musicians perform in their concerts, and then the very next day you have the opportunity to spend some time with them during the workshops, because it's quite intensive workshop program. So, I think it's really great because, and also the fact that we all kind of stay together in this res thing. I know it gets uncomfortable at times, but it's just, it has that kind of community feeling, which I think is good. And I think they're doing great work. And yeah, so I was in the youth band in 2006, when I was still, I think I was like in third year or something like that.
Yeah.
And then a few years later, in 2011, I was awarded the Standard Bank Young Artist. I was one of the youngest to win it. So when they actually phoned me to tell me that I'd won it, I was very surprised, because for me, it was always something that, like an older musician, like,
Yeah.
I just didn't feel like it was my time yet. So I was really shocked when
Yeah.
when Alan Webster called me to say that, no, you've been selected as this thing. But I think it was a blessing because it made me really think about, because it's not just an award, it's kind of something, where, well, anyway, in the way I interpreted it, was that it was something that you really needed to look at the legacy and tradition of our context in this music and see how you take that story forward. So it's kind of, it comes with some kind of responsibility, the award. So that kind of focused my thinking a little bit when I made Emancipate the Story. That was as a result of that award. And then ever since then, I've been going there as a performer, collaborator, and also doing some lessons and some teaching. So it's great that, as they say, a full circle moment to come back and then to lead the band. And that'll be interesting. For me, it's been an interesting thought process to think, okay, what must I get these young musicians to play, and what am I trying to say with the performance? So I'm actually in that mode now. I'm not 100% sure of what we're going to do, but I'm going to write a piece, kind of long form piece specifically for the event, and then also some other compositions. So yeah, I'm busy in that process now.
Which is, oh man, I can imagine the excitement. At the very same time, I can imagine the whole thinking that encompasses the whole thing, because now you get to hear your music dialoguing differently, and you are directing the music, and you're
Yeah.
not playing yourself, but
Yes.
you're trusting young people to really take the sound even further.
Yes.
And I'm looking forward to that experience, and I can imagine what it means to you as well. I mean, you are saying it right when you are saying it feels like a full circle kind of a moment where
Yeah.
everything, you just start reflecting. I mean, your days as a young person, and you
Yeah.
grow up into it, and you start going there as a sideman. You're going there to perform your own
Yeah.
sets. You go there as a collaborator, and then now you come back as an elder to sort
Yeah.
of guide the future generation and impart all the knowledge and everything that you and all the and everything that you have. Do you have an idea of how big the ensemble is gonna be?
Yes, I think the maximum is eight. I think we're going to be looking at eight musicians, three horns, rhythm section, and voice. I think,
Oh,
yeah,
okay. And the number
yeah.
of pieces?
For now, I'm thinking five. Yeah, five pieces. Yeah, so
Okay,
one long piece and then some shorter compositions. Yeah.
okay. This is beautiful. To those that do not know, there's National Arts Festival taking place in Makanda every year, starting from the 22nd, I suppose, on like Thursday next week, and then it's gonna end on the first, if I'm not mistaken. It could no on the second. It's gonna continue for 10 days, and there's a beautiful jazz program that happens at DSG. It's been there for many years, and the guy that Bogani mentioned, Alan Webster, stays not too far from where we are right now, and he's really done a great work in terms of grooming youngsters and creating that jazz culture, a very enabling kind of an environment. Big ups to Alan Webster for that work. I suppose we wouldn't be having this conversation box. So big ups to him. And again, thanks to Lerato for joining us this evening, for breaking bread with us and really allowing people into your world and taking us through your beautiful journey. Before we release you, what do you want to say to our beautiful listeners?
Ooh, firstly, thank you so much, Butsuko, for having me. And thank you, Box, for letting me gate crash your conversation. Um, I think what's on my heart is just an invitation, that jazz music is for everyone. Sometimes there's a perception that there's an exclusivity around it. But to me, when you watch, especially improvisation, that's when you get to see freedom really in action, people truly expressing themselves. So it's an invitation to just try jazz out, whatever idea that you have of it, suspend that for just a moment, because we are so well fed in this country when it comes to jazz music. So yeah, that's really what's on my heart, is that the music is for everybody, the archive is for everybody, jazz is the music for the people. Yeah, so try it out.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. How can people find your work, find you, or read more, learn more about Lerato?
Well, the best place to find me is Instagram. I'm Lerato Pagade on Instagram. And if people will be around for the Arts Festival, there'll be an exhibition happening that opens on the 22nd, I think. So they'll be able to sort of browse through some of the work that we've captured in this year or so that I've been on this journey.
Thank you so much. That was Lerato Pagade, jazz photographer and archivist. Thank you so much, Lerato. See you in Makanda.
See you in Makanda. All roads lead to Makanda.
See you in Makanda. See you soon. See you next week.
Next week.
Yeah, we're gonna
Sharp
take
Box, all
a
the
quick
best.
break, and then
Okay.
we're gonna finish it off with Box. We're just gonna take a very short break and play you some nice music. And yeah, we are reading your messages and we are accepting the love. We're sending it right back to you. Siabulela. There's a song here by Bokani that we're going to play, and then we'll continue with our conversation. And we hope you're still having a great time, and we hope you're still enjoying. And it is indeed interesting moment for us to really gather here once more and engage. Let's play the music, and yeah. back again. We had to cut that break short. Load shedding is really upon us, and yeah, let's catch Box before his phone dies. Box, can you
Yeah,
please
man.
take us back to this moment you really, paid homage to Brazil in a very incredible way? What was going through your mind when you really penned this song?
Is that Zim Zim?
Yeah, that's Zim Zim.
Yeah, so like I said a little bit earlier, this was on the album Emancipate the Story, and I was trying to get some inspiration from a lot of the legends of the South African jazz tradition. So Zim Mawan was definitely one of those who I listened to a lot, and yeah, his recordings are just so powerful, and he just has a great presence. So I really felt like he was a really special figure in our jazz language. So it was kind of a tribute to him. And yeah, interestingly enough, I had one conversation with him just before he passed away. He was visiting in Cape Town, and this was shortly after the album was released. And he said to me, "Hey, man, we must play together sometime." And then I was like,
Oh,
"Yeah, that would be the biggest honor. I'd love to." And yeah, unfortunately, that didn't get to happen, and he passed away a few months later. But yeah, he's just always been an inspiration.
thank you so much. What can we are about to release you. We see that your battery is flashing greens, reds, and whites. Um,
Yeah, one
what can
percent
we?
now.
Oh, bro. So okay, cool. What parting shots to your lovely listeners at home?
um, yeah, I don't know what to say.
Of
I
course.
mean, thanks for listening. Support music. We can only continue with the support of the people out there, and also engage with the artists and let them know,
Mm, mm,
what thoughts are provoked from listening to various things, or
mm.
just have the conversation. Yeah.
Thank you so much. That was Bogani Daya, a jazz pianist and composer. He's released a number of important records contributing to our great archives. You can check him out. He's going to be conducting youth band at the National Arts Festival jazz program happening in DSG. As from next week, please also follow him on the socials, Bogani Daya. Get his latest project, even other projects before that. He's really an incredible brother we have in the game. Thank you so much, Bogani. Have a great
Thank you
evening.
so much,
Thank you
Zuko.
so much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you.
Cool, cool, cool. To those that join in, you are listening and watching. Some are watching. This is Jazz Outside the Box, your space for sonic engagements. We don't play music, we also engage in these beautiful conversations that inform the sound and the stories behind this monumental music, which is very historic in the very nature of its inception. So we are here now, and we thank you. We've got people that have been tuning in every time since we started 3 weeks ago, and you're still with us, and we really appreciate the love. And we see you. We are reading the comments, the messages. We're receiving everything. Thank you so much. Private messages as well. We see you guys. Thanks. Keep supporting the show. And yeah, let's play some music. And let's play a bit of some music. And yeah, also feel free to send your comments to your lovely guests, and let's make them feel at home. They're gonna be visiting Eastern Cape next week. We're doing National Arts Festival. I suppose that's the biggest thing that we are all talking about. And let's play the music now. you're still listening to Jazz Outside the Box, your space for sonic engagements. We are always grateful to have you guys here. It's a beautiful space. It's for us to, it's for everyone, to gather around the fire and really, feed our souls through jazz music and the conversations. So we really appreciate your company and we are so grateful. We're about to take a bow for the night. It's been a great session with two lovely guests, Lerato Pagade and Bogani Daya, who joined us, taking us through their journey and taking us through as well what they'll be presenting in Makanda. And yeah, this is to say we all need to be in Makanda to experience the beauty of jazz. I'm in East London and at Keith Ngesi studio. You know that this studio has got 4 pillars that really undergird this movement. One is motivation, entertainment, spirituality, and current affairs. And I'm sure when we sign out, we will have attended to your needs, either in Perfumlueni or otherwise. So to those that stay in East London, they know on Thursdays we always gather at Berea Legends Creative Hub. There's Jazz and Pizza Thursdays starting at 6 o'clock. We're going to be there playing you some live music. We've got a very important repertoire to present tomorrow. And on Fridays, Saturdays, there's still a jazz, nice program happening at the Blue Lagoon Hotel Saturday and Sunday from 3 to 7. This is about jazz development. This is about jazz in this beautiful city, this beautiful metro. So please visit. It's long weekend. Please visit. It's going to be vibing in a great way. So, and also closing the set, I would like to send a very big shout out to Sakino Bozolo in Gqeberha, who's been for many years, curating jazz Kwanxeba on Thursdays as well. You're doing an important work, brother, and there are some nice jazz spots in Gqeberha, and where the jazz culture is really accentuated in a very important way. Please do check them out. And yeah, let's meet in Makanda next week. Of course, we're going to tell you exactly what we're going to be doing there as well. We're going to be having some interesting guests here online, unpacking a few things that will interest and motivate you and encourage you to the highest levels. Let's play you a song and let's meet again on Wednesday. See you on Wednesday. Yeah, as we're going out, let's play you. That was Fanfare by Bogani Daya. And now we're going to play you a very beautiful piece by Afrika Mkize entitled Be Still. We just want to say, in everything that's going on, whatever you're going through, just be still. It won't last forever. You're going to come out alive and stronger. Be still.